You are listening to News Talk Sauga 960, the Marc Patrone Show. Freedom-loving news talk. Awesomeness.
I'm joined by Jacob Mantle. He is the Conservative Member of Parliament for York-Durham. Welcome, Jacob.
Thanks, Mark. Great to be with you.
Coming to us from Ottawa, I see your colleague has posted this. Horrible news. This is from Aaron Gunn. Aaron is a Conservative MP in, North Island, Powell River.
Yeah, Vancouver Island.
Right, Vancouver Island. He writes as follows. The Liberal government has just successfully censored their censorship bill by working with the separatist Bloc Québécois to end committee debate and ram the bill through Parliament. The bill seeks to make it easier to prosecute and arrest Canadians for political and religious expression by watering down the definition of hate speech and removing important safeguards against abuse. This sounds like an attack against our freedoms of speech. What do you think, Jacob?
It absolutely is an attack on freedom of speech of all Canadians, and everyone should be concerned who loves freedom in this country. Even more concerning is the manner in which the Liberals are going about it, which, as my good friend Aaron has correctly described, they have introduced a procedure in Parliament to end debate on this proposal, which they passed earlier this morning. So that means they're shutting down debate, shutting down Parliament from talking about this issue any further.
Exactly how does this bill water down the definition of hate speech?
Yeah, good question, Mark. So over the last couple of decades, there's been successive Supreme Court decisions and lower court decisions talking about the portions of the criminal code that deal with hate speech. And over those decades, there's been a very high bar set for what should constitute criminal hate speech. And that's a good thing, because only the most severe types of hate speech should be criminalized in this country. For as much as possible, we support free expression and the exchange of ideas. But one of the things that this bill or this Liberal proposal has done is to water down that definition and change the wording of it in the bill. And that, in our opinion, would make it easier for more speech to qualify as hate speech, or what the Liberals might think is hate speech.
What type of speech should we be concerned about? Are we talking about maybe attacks on political opinion, that kind of thing that might qualify as hate speech? In other words, is it possible that one day we might be arrested? I might be arrested for something I say about the Liberal government on the air.
Well, and that fear always exists, Mark, and that is why we don't want to criminalize speech. We want free expression, the free exchange of ideas, because, I'm sorry, but the Liberal government doesn't have a good track record of being benevolent when it comes to our freedoms. I mean, they had the online harms proposals, they had the Emergencies Act, which two successive courts now have ruled was illegal. But all of those, laws were passed with the, promise that this would only be used in the most extreme situations. And of course, that has never turned out to be true with the Liberal government. And so we are concerned. In this specific case, it seems like they're targeting religious expression and the expression of religious texts or reading of religious texts, which at least one member of the Liberal cabinet seems to think are objectively hateful. He called out the Bible and the Torah as being hateful scripture. And so we're concerned that pastors, imams, and faith leaders across the country could be subject to criminal sanction for simply preaching from the Bible or preaching from the Torah or holding a faith service.
You're talking about Mark Miller here, right?
Yes, I am talking about Mark Miller, who was the chair of the Justice Committee and unprompted gave his opinion to the committee that certain passages of the Bible and the Torah are objectively hateful, and not only that they are hateful, but prosecutors should have discretion in Canada to prosecute those who preach and speak from those texts.
Yeah, I mean, if you can take the logical extension of that is to declare parts of the Bible or the Torah or whatever religious text you read or have access to as subject to censorship. In other words, well, we can't include this part of the Bible, and we can't include that part of the Torah, and so sorry. I mean, is that where they're going? Do you think?
Well, that's the logical conclusion of this proposal, and we've made that point. I mean, who the government should not be the arbiter of what people believe or what people say. And so who's going to be the arbiter? Is it Mark Miller? Is Mark Miller going to go through the Bible with a red pen and tell us which portions are okay to talk about and which portions, the government says are off limits? No, we oppose that.
Yeah, and for good reason. I mean, this is scary. We're going down the road of Orwellian, dystopian type of censorship for thought crimes. And I don't know why they want to go there. You would think that the government of Canada would have enough on its plate dealing with the economy and all the various problems that we have in this country. No, they have to devote time and energy to basically censorship. And this isn't the only bill, is it? I mean, there are a number of bills that they have passed and looked at that all seem to be aimed at restricting speech, especially online. They really hate online speech, it seems. I don't know what it is with these people, but go ahead.
Well, you're right, Mark. They certainly feel that they should be the arbiter of what Canadians see and hear online and elsewhere. But we know where that road leads. That road leads to censorship. It leads to tyranny, and we gotta push back on that.
And this is not a law yet. It has not been passed in the law. It's just been rammed through committee, right?
That's correct. So it's going to go through its last bit of committee probably this week. They've limited the time left for that debate, and then it'll come back to the House of Commons for its final vote as early as this week. And we expect that the Liberals, with the help of the separatist Bloc Québécois, will push this through Parliament, and then it will go off to the Senate.
Why is the Bloc? I mean, is this a trading chip for them? The Liberals offered them some goodies in some other related matter or unrelated matter. Is that what's going on here? Why would the Bloc support this?
Well, Mark, I think the Bloc support this because they've had some serious issues of anti-Semitism in Quebec, and that's a real issue. And we obviously oppose that type of hatred directed at Jewish Canadians. And so they for some reason think that this proposal is going to address those issues, but it's not. It's not. There are many existing provisions of our criminal code that deal with harassment, criminal harassment, obstructing people getting to places of worship. So this was and funnily enough, Mark, the removal of religious protections from the criminal code that's included in Bill C-9 was the price that Bloc demanded for their support on this. So together, the Liberals and the Bloc, made this Faustian bargain to attack religious expression.
Isn't that something? Absolute lunacy. And I mean, if you create a circumstance where you can target speech, then it stands to reason that they will eventually broaden it. Because to your point, there were already provisions made in the criminal code around, inciting of hate, that sort of thing. We already have those laws on the books, and, maybe they're not always enforced, but that's hardly the fault of the law. That's just the fault of, and law enforcement or Crown attorneys decide not to lay charges in those cases. But, this is
absolutely. And I want to be very clear here. We're not talking about calls to violence. We're not talking about someone getting up and calling for Canadians to commit violence against someone else. That's already illegal, always has been illegal, and it's never been a defense. There's never been a defense to getting up, whether it's at a pulpit or in a park, and calling other Canadians to violence against their fellow citizens. So it's not clear, so what they're trying to achieve will not be achieved by Bill C-9, and in fact, it will harm the groups that they say they want to protect by attacking their religious freedoms.
Yeah, and we're going to start criminalizing hurt feelings, that sort of thing. That is not good. Anyway, Jacob, thank you so much for taking time from your busy day to chat with us today. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Mark, and thanks for helping us get the message out here that we are trying to defend the free expression and freedom of religion of Canadians across the country.
Jacob Mantle, rookie MP for York Durham.